InfoWars, tomorrow's news today.
Thank you so much for joining us on this live Friday edition. I am back in the saddle and honored to be here. All right, I'll give you an update on the little health thing that's gone on the last few days. We come back next segment, but I've gotten a bunch of tests came in. All is good. Mystery was solved. I'll tell you about that next segment when some stations join us. Look, here's the deal. People ask me a lot on the street, but also my family, how are you taking all these attacks and all this demonization, Alex? And my answer is, that's the least of our problems. Major world war, economic collapse, mass starvation, complete collapse of the third world, flooding the first world. That's the Great Reset plan. And that's how I keep predicting everything that's happening. So I'm the captain of my own life. I'm trying to get everybody else to be the captains of their lives. And I'm really trying to get people to stand up and wake up and get engaged and get involved so that we don't go into a major calamity. If I didn't think we could at least have a safer crash landing, we're crashing for sure, we're already in the middle of it, I wouldn't still be on air. I would have evacuated, probably out of the United States. It's going to be the epicenter of a artificial civil war. Everybody else is just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. So we're going to be talking about all of this and a lot more here on the broadcast today. But when you see the circus out there of this Supreme Court nominee who can't say what a woman is, and you see everything else that's happening, know that this is all by design, run by very wicked, very evil behavioral psychologists that can only capture us by making us insane. There's a great meme going around. It's got an image of Kavanaugh and that woman that made up all that crap about him. It's been confirmed she made it up. A bunch of women have gone to jail that got caught actually telling lies that didn't exist. They were just total frauds. Believe all women, we're told. And then there's a Republican nominee who's a woman. And then we're told, oh, only some women. And now it's what's a woman with the new Supreme Court nominee. Very, very sick situation. We've got all that to go over. There's also a bunch of news confirming from England to the U.S. to Sweden that they were ordered to kill old people and not give them health care and to just give them morphine while they were put on ventilators, to kill them with the ventilator. Because you give them morphine or other strong opiates and then put them on a ventilator, it'll kill you. And they knew and gave the order worldwide to kill. That's a pretty big deal. That's mainstream news. They're just reporting it like it's no big deal. And of course, we have the really big news we'll cover right when we come back, the war and the economic collapse that, again, is orchestrated. And Biden's saying it's all because of Russia. That's why the gas has exploded. And that's why he says you will have food shortages now. Now, food shortages and massive inflation in the United States means people going bankrupt, people on the street, people moving in with their families, people, dying from stress trying to make ends meet. But in Africa and in Latin America and in some areas of the Middle East and Asia, it is a death sentence. Because in those countries, there's not welfare. You just starve to death. So we'll talk about it when we come back. Well, Ketanji Brown Jackson can't find her ass with both hands. But that's not really true. She knows good and well we're living in a brainwashed cult and that you're not allowed to define a woman. Only the globalists and the biomedical tyranny are, because they're putting chemicals in the food and water to make us basically sexless, hermaphroditic drones. And of course, I've been telling you for 28 years on air, that's the plan, because I read the book by the head family running the global eugenics operation that founded the UN, the Huxleys, and they wrote a book in 31 telling you the plan that was fiction called Brave New World, and then they wrote a nonfiction he did in 61 when he was dying of cancer. He gave a Berkeley speech. You can go read the book and listen to the speech. It's only an hour long. where he lays out how this is indeed real and how they're going to do this to you. So I have their damn blueprint. You have their damn blueprint. How do you think I got up here on air and said you're going to see major war break out in Asia and in Eastern Europe by late February? Because I have a lot of high-level sources, and I can also see the propaganda and the movements and things that were happening in the military, in the corporate world, at every level. And now it came out last week that China was looking to invade Taiwan simultaneously, but didn't, and is now looking to go in this fall. And they just seized some more islands today. I mean, all hell's just breaking loose, ladies and gentlemen. But there's nothing more frustrating. Nothing more frustrating than having the globalist battle plan and knowing what cards are in their hand. You don't know what they're going to play next, but you know limitedly what they can play. So in a way, you do know. And then to just sit here and be attacked by the whole political system, constantly trying to put me in jail, constantly trying to sue us out of existence, constantly trying to deplatform us and debank us and the rest of it. And I just don't think even the listeners of this show realize that InfoWars is a canary in the coal mine and a real weather vane or bellwether, a gauge, a sensor, a detector of where everybody else is about to be. Just like Trump would always say, they're trying to get through me to get to you. And he was absolutely right. And DeSantis makes that same point. Boy, DeSantis just gets better and better by the minute. Better than Trump, I would say, in his policies and what he's up to. But I'm not trying to pick favorites here. At least Trump has shut up about the poison shot. At least isn't pushing it anymore. That's enough for me. But here's the big news, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever Joe Biden came out last week and said we're in a new world order, and then he said it again on Monday, and it got a lot of attention. People need to listen very, very carefully to what he said. We're going to play that clip next segment. He was explaining that in his own halting babble that 60 million people were killed in war in World War II. Of course, there's a lot more than 60 million people, but that's a conservative number. And he was explaining that. And he said, then we got a liberal new world order that stopped all that, which that's not true, and that world order is about to be over. And that a new world order is going to be here, and that the U.S. is going to lead it. I'll explain what type of new world order they're setting up, and I think you already know. It's called the Great Reset. The new headline is all over the news. The Davos Group calls the shots. The media clicks their heels. The academics and government officials click their heels. Bugs now being served on trendy menus at trendy restaurants all over the Western world. Everything from fly larva gravy to mealworm hamburgers. It just gets grosser and grosser because they have to train you to accept the destruction of all that is good and decent and that your instincts tell you is good and decent. They want you to go against your instincts. We've also got that here in Austin with this elementary school that locks the children in so parents can't get in and then teaches them how to use sex toys. We're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds. And then has them march around in basically rainbow gangster attire as they are inducted into the pedophilic sex cult. And even again, Bill Maher says it's wrong to be sexualizing children. This is exactly the laws that DeSantis is trying to pass to keep these groomers away from your children, because at the bottom of the barrel, the Democratic Party is a sexualization of children. Look at this video out of middle school here in Austin, or elementary school, excuse me. The children wearing masks because they're prisoners in the cult, going around worshiping and discussing how wonderful it is to have sex with the same sex. Imagine if a mom and dad were just teaching 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds or 8-year-olds this. See, those parents are perverts. They're weirdos. Kids aren't thinking about those type of things. This is pure imprinting, pure grooming. We got all the leftists going into the big city councils and congressional hearings and saying, we are grooming your children. We are going to get your children. They are ours now. You have these whacked out zombies teaching them all this and then getting the children to say who they're attracted to sexually and then filling it out and giving papers to the teacher so they can then encourage them and have them get up in front of the class and say, I'm a 5-year-old boy and I like boys. Well, of course you like boys when you're a boy, as in want to play with them. Well, you don't understand what they're saying. Girls like girls too. So they're trying to confuse them, create a definition in the school system towards transgenderism and sterilization. I mean, whoa, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's heterosexual or homosexual, all of it is pedophilic and evil. That's coming up as well. Also, the left celebrating Clarence Thomas being sick and now going after his wife, saying they need to have her arrested for the insurrection. Congress has her text messages and is having a bunch of fun where she said, hey, let's fight them still in this election. Hey, you're not allowed to say you're going to say no to us. Democrats said they were going to challenge the election no matter what happened and wouldn't accept the results, and then they were going to have their own inauguration and would even have a civil war. The New York Times said the Democrats' war game with Hillary and Obama and Biden and John Podesta. That was in the New York Times, that they were going to have a physical war. But then she, Clarence Thomas's wife, who is a patriot, sent text messages to the White House Chief of Staff saying, hey, you need to challenge this fraud. You need to politically do this. How dare her talk in America about challenging an election? They got all that coming up. Man, it's a crazy time in America. There's also some other news that I haven't gotten, we really haven't talked about in depth. We talked about it briefly yesterday, and he's a tough guy, so he doesn't care, but we do need to talk about it. We need to make a big deal about it, though, when we finally get around to it. The feds called about Owen, and they said something really evil, really unprecedented. And they, because see, the Democrats and the deep state believe they have a free hand with America. They can commit any crime they want, do anything they want. And it's pretty incredible how they operate. So at some point here in the next few days, maybe Monday or so, Owen and I'll tell you, I'm sure he's going to want to talk about it, about what the feds called up his lawyer and said. Probably imagine what they said. But I guess they really just misjudged all of us, who we are. We're not people like them, mafia-type individuals. But this country is in terminal collapse right now. And we'll come back with Biden bragging about it and saying it's going to be really painful. There will be mass food shortages and starvation worldwide. It's already happening. And it's all Russia's fault. It's not the Great Reset. It's not the lockdown. I didn't tell you probably 2,000 times the last 26 months is what happened right around this time. No, it's all Russia. That's right. And now we're going to watch hundreds of millions of Africans die. But that's okay. Just don't use the N-word, okay? You can kill all the black people you want. Just don't use that magic N-word. Don't be looking for all the cool black hip-hop stars, rappers, everybody talk about actual murder of Africans. So the puppet president of the United States, Joe Biden, at the SNAP NATO summit he called so he can grandstand around the war and try to boost his approval ratings, has blamed, ladies and gentlemen, the Russians for the food price increases and the inflation, when it's the private central banks of the U.S., the European Union, China, and Japan, has been absolutely horrible as well, massively monetizing debt and just turning the printing presses up. Japan for 40 years, and the U.S. has accelerated it, as you know, the last 20 or so, and so has China. So there's been a race, and people just keep getting all this money. Now the inflation's kicking in, and it's Vladimir Putin's fault. Here it is.
Nothing more to report. With regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well.
So again, let's play that one more time and let that sink in on the food situation. Go ahead and play it again.
Nothing more to report. With regard to food shortages, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well.
Which, of course, is true. When you cut off the second largest fertilizer supplier in the world, when you cut off the second largest oil supplier in the world, it's going to cause even bigger problems on top of the inflation that was already accelerating, and we all know that, and there's national polls out. Over 70% of Americans know it's Joe Biden, it's the globalists. But do they know it's by design? Do they know it's part of the Great Reset? I have a clip here. In fact, let's skip to this clip. Let's play clip 17. This is Biden says this crisis also presents an opportunity for investment in clean energy. And what does the head of the Energy Department said? What does the head of the Department of Transportation said? What have they all said? They've all said, oh, we could lower gas prices. We can lower electricity prices. We've chosen not to make you transition off fossil fuel. The windmills don't work. The solar panels break. They use as much carbon to produce them as they ever basically gain. It's all a scam. You have enough coal to go for thousands of years, and it's good for the environment. It's good. It creates carbon dioxide plants breathe. But it doesn't matter because they want to depopulate. Oh, look, Jeff Bezos' wife just gave hundreds of millions of dollars specifically earmarking abortions of black babies. Oh, but they're liberal. They gave money to Black Lives Matter, whose main mission is ending the nuclear family and getting black men to turn trans and have their penises and testicles removed. Folks, that's official. I mean, they really don't like black people. And what's the average black male like? He's just like a liberal white. He's out there going on political correctness out there. I saw some comedian at Joe's club where he is a resident at Vulcan Gas Company, get in his face and say, how dare you use the N-word and all this stuff, when Joe invited him there to be there just to try to, act like a stud or act cool. And I guarantee you talk to that guy about targeting black babies for abortion or world starvation, mainly of Africans under this plan, he doesn't care. He just wants to get points with the corporate media and the system. I may even play that clip a little bit later. Pat Riley was showing it to me the other day, and I forgot to send it to Scott. Guys, call Riley and get him to send it to you. He's got the clip. And again, it's this holier-than-thou attitude, like, oh, you're a white person, so you're bad. The liberal corporate media told me so, who wants us all divided and conquered and killing each other and all basing our ideas on race, so we never base it on liberty and freedom and a code that lifts us all up. Until they turn minorities, that are the majority worldwide, 90% of the world's not white, into white-hating bigots. And then the globalists have the world set for where it wants to go, planetary, racial division and control, where we're all like a big prison. You got the blacks, the Hispanics, and the whites, and every group's racially based, and the warden controls everyone by race. And we are a prison planet controlled by racial manipulation and LGBT brainwashing designed to screw up our children. Absolutely cold-blooded, absolutely evil, and if you've got a soul, you've got to reject the whole thing and say no to it. This is not, and I don't say this to curry favor with the LGBT people. I say this because it's the truth. I don't hate someone because they like the same sex as an adult. I hate the agenda of targeting children, period, and the whole, quote, gay agenda being globalist, being anti-gun, anti-family, and being signed on to dehumanization and transhumanism. Keep your dirty, evil hands off children. I don't care if you're a heterosexual pedophile or a homosexual pedophile, you need to go to prison. Continuing, I mean, it's not even a Trojan horse anymore. They're not even hiding that the gay agenda is really a pedophile agenda now. And so we need people who've been pro-LGBT, like Bill Maher, to come out against it and say, keep your hands off the kids. What the hell's your problem? And then he gets shouted down because this is driven by a pedophile. The LGBT bus is driven by a pedophile, period. But again, it's about cutting the resources off while dividing us, conquering us, and getting rid of the family, because it's a strong institution where people owe allegiance to that family. It's the original gang. And replacing it with gangs of whites and blacks and Asians and Hispanics and this and that and Muslim and Christian and gay and straight and this and that, all divided into gangs. Gang rule, fascism, all these separate groups tied together in the broken coalition strategy. Here's Biden talking about the crisis also presents an opportunity.
This crisis also presents an opportunity. It's a catalyst that will drive the investments we need to double down on our clean energy goals and accelerate progress toward our net zero emissions future. That's what the second part of this initiative is all about. The United States and the European Union are going to work together to take concrete measures to reduce dependence on natural gas, period.
So, natural gas burns basically clean. They don't care, they want it gone. Everything's got to go, you see, because you're being put into feudalism, you're being put into serfdom while they're above the law and do whatever they want, however they want, in any way they want. I got to play this short clip. This is Biden asked about World War III. This is how moronic the press is and warmongering. They even make the Crypt Keeper look smart. Here it is.
Cecilia, ABC. There you are.
So get everything. Sir, you've made it very clear in this conflict that you do not want to see World War III. But is it possible that in expressing that so early that you were too quick to rule out direct military intervention in this war? Could Putin have been emboldened knowing that you are not going to get involved directly in this conflict?
No and no.
I don't believe that.
And there's many layers of lies there, and we'll come back and get to that and get to his New World Order comment that I said I'd get to this segment. And I'm sure you pick up on the layers of lies there, though. Part of what he says is true, the rest is a lie. The U.S. is directly involved with Russia. We're at war with Russia, been at war with Russia for 8 years. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and I'm going to get into the situation the world's facing, not to scare you, but so you can get prepared. And I think most of the listeners understand now that you don't have to just go off my predictions and think, well, maybe he's going to be right. We're now living the financial collapse. We're living the economic collapse. We are living the food infrastructure collapse. We are living through our energy being purposely turned off. And things are going to get very rough in America and Europe, places like Japan, and in areas like China. They're going to have even bigger problems for the first world, and then in the third world, it is going to be an absolute death sentence for hundreds and hundreds of millions of people. And that information is not even being denied now by the very globalists that are orchestrating this. So when you talk about evil, these people are killing way more than Hitler and Mao, who are the two biggest killers in history. Lenin and Stalin are close third and fourths. But China killed 100 million of their people, they admit. Hitler was responsible for the death and killing of 30 million people overall. Even more if you count the Germans that died. And then you got Lenin and Stalin close, as I said, third and fourth places. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen. And so, but they're dying by starvation, so it's okay. And the IMF and World Bank give the orders to those countries. You'll get billions of dollars that the dictators and corrupt politicians get if you cut the medicine off and cut the food off. So it's just unbelievable. And, the attitude by basketball team owners and stuff about 3 million people in death camps, hundreds of thousands being killed every few months, they confirm. But, I don't even care. The Uyghurs don't even register to me. I'm a liberal, the guy says. So I give $10 million to Black Lives Matter, and so I've bought my ticket to be able to engage and support genocide. Because basketball is even bigger in China than it is here. They make most of their money in China now. And this guy's literally banking and working and getting products made by people in death camps. And then he says, screw them. I don't even think about them. They don't even enter my mind. I'm trying to get this through to everybody. That's who we're up against. And they've converted. Most of the Democratic Party voters are like that now. The judges, most of them are like that. The pundits on TV, they know they're evil. They know they're bad. They know they're taking our speech. They know they're preparing to criminalize being a nationalist or a patriot. And it's the same program worldwide. So this is it. It's not coming, it's here. And they are searing our conscience right now when they have the owners of basketball teams saying millions in death camps doesn't even register. They don't even make it on my radar screen, he said. Now let me ask you, do you feel safe when hundreds of millions of people are getting set to die from starvation? Already 40 plus million in the last 2 years. That's a low number. Extra died. That's 40 frickin' million people. Because I'm going to just say, do you feel safe with an elite running things that on purpose just did that? Because maybe you think there's too many Africans. Maybe you're a eugenicist. But I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think you're safe when that type of stuff's going on? Because I'll assure you nobody is. I don't care if you're a billionaire. I don't care if you work at a shoe store. This isn't good. I'm going to stop right there. I'll get into Biden, and I'll get into all the things that are unfolding. Coming up, next segment, then I'm going to open the phones up in the second and third hour. Roger Stone's will be popping in some of the third hour as well. And I want to get into the New World Order and the starvation and what it really means. And I'm already kind of getting into it, but I want to spend the next segment, it's the longest segment of the hour, on that. I want to cover a few things concerning InfoWars and independent media and how this ties into the bigger picture that we're looking at here, and respond to the big national news story. Basically, thousands of local TV stations ran the story. National news all ran it, from ABC News to CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, local newspaper. Alex Jones could be arrested for not going to deposition. And then he's faking an illness. He's lying. Ladies and gentlemen, I said yesterday in something I recorded from home that they changed the deposition times on us 5 times. It was more like 8 times. They did it last minute. We didn't go to the judge. We didn't complain because it's just what they do. And then I had a mystery illness. We couldn't figure out what it was. I finally found out last night. And it wasn't what people thought. And the doctors are like, hey, your health comes first. Go to these tests. And I found out about it on Monday, wasn't sure, got a little worse on Tuesday, went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to go get these tests. And I went and got scans and what do you call them? They put the electrodes all over you, the EKGs, and 16 ampules of blood taken. Went to a couple clinics, places, got checked in. Got some more tests coming up next week, and then boom, one of the doctors finally figured it out. They go, you're not dizzy because of high blood pressure, which I don't have. It's not your heart. Your heart's actually in really good shape for somebody overweight like you at your age. They said the right side of my heart's a little bit bigger than the other side, but that's classic with somebody with sleep apnea, but it's not that enlarged, just a little bit on one side. Don't let you know my medical stuff here, and I got charts and all that say it. They said it's a really good heart for even a normal 48-year-old person. It's like, looks like a 20-year-old's. But it's a little bit bigger on this side. Yeah, that's a sleep apnea, because they asked me in the questionnaire and then even predicted that my right side would be a little bit bigger. And then finally, they're like, hey, have you taken some Claritin D? And then they sort of checking, sent me to another doctor, and I had a blockage in my sinus. And when it finally came out last night, blood and pus, and I felt so much better. Because Marble's in here on Monday, and I'm dizzy, and I'm sweating, and I say, yeah, I've been dizzy for a couple days. It comes and goes. He goes, well, that could be your heart, and you need to go to the doctor right now. And then he was predicting, well, you're kind of a little bit overweight, you're stressed. I bet you need a stent in your heart and all that stuff. He's a great guy, but I was like, whoa, you really? And so I was dizzy. You probably noticed last week I was sniffling a lot. Every time I go to LA, stuff like this happens. I went to LA, I was there, stopped up the whole time. Couldn't figure it out what was going on. Got a neti pot, tried that, and then it just made a middle ear type deal where I was just like, whoa, half the day, like I was on the deck of a ship, and he thought that was my heart. So that's what happened. That's what's going on, and I feel like a new person once this blockage, and I don't want to get graphic here, but it was disgusting. Blood, pus, we're talking probably 3 ounces of it came out of my left nostril. And so that's the big story. That's what happened. And of course, they're like, you're dizzy, you're sweating, you can't go to this. I've sat for 3 of these things. I've been basically anally probed by these people. They've gotten everything, a blueprint to try to destroy us, and they admit that's their plan. And then they default us and say we've done nothing, and then I have a medical issue and tell them, and they say they want me arrested. That's who these people are. It's a Democratic Party mafia that uses dead children as their pretext to attack the Second and First Amendment, ladies and gentlemen. And it is preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. But I'm glad I went and got these medical tests. And if you want to get completely graphic, everybody asks why I have gravelly voice. I scream and yell a lot on bullhorns over the years, didn't have voice lessons, tore up my throat. And I've got some polyps on my larynx and another one not on the larynx up here that I'm going to have to get surgery on at some point. But I won't be able to be on air for 2 weeks when I do it. So I got that to deal with. I mean, since we're all obsessed with my medical stuff, let's just get it all out there. Don't have any hemorrhoids, don't have any hangnails, got 60 beats per minute. I've got the blood pressure of a 25-year-old, and so I got good genetics. But I'm on antibiotics and feeling a lot better with this whole nasal situation. So there we are. That's where we're at, and so I'm done talking about it. But man, the response of those people and the craziness and how they've weaponized the judiciary and how I'm supposed to be destroyed, and the people involved, the judges, the lawyers, all of them are primping for the media and writing books and making money and getting off on it, and it's just disgusting. And then accusing me of living off those dead kids? No, it's that whole group of Democrats and lawyers and people, they live off of them. Folks up in Connecticut run like a cult around those kids. Be right back. I almost always, when I say I'm doing a special live broadcast, I almost always end up doing it. But obviously, because of the vertigo and the rest of it from the sinus infection, I didn't do that Wednesday as I said I would, and I apologize for that, or Tuesday. But I will do a 3-hour live show. Excuse me. I will do a 3-hour live show tomorrow, commercial-free. By that, we're not going to go to regular breaks like a radio or TV clock. We'll play a few breaks for me to go to the bathroom or get up, get a cup of coffee or whatever. But we're going to do a 3-hour special show live from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to have a surprise special guest as well. And we're going to take your calls. And I'm also going to take your calls next hour and in the third hour as well. And we have Roger Stone on the big suit that Trump has filed. It's really a blueprint of how the Democrats engaged in their attempted coup against Trump and the American people and their whole Russiagate fraud. And how the scam worked. Very important to understand and know, even if Democrat judges are probably going to throw the very, very well-done, well-documented suit out. So we'll be looking at that with Roger Stone some in the third hour. I will give the number out here in just a few minutes. We'll fire up the phone system so everybody can call in and give us your take on all of these different situations that are unfolding. Let me get back to this now. The crime against humanity, the mass murder on a scale of which the world has never seen in recorded history, has been taking place for 2 years with the whole COVID mafia takeover, with the deadly virus they released, blocking the drugs to treat the virus. It's very easy to treat, therapeutics, then giving people the vaccines that's not a vaccine, that actually creates the same thing as a spike protein and colonizes your body with protein crystals very similar to what causes mad cow disease or spongiform encephalopathy. The denial of care of old people who needed cancer surgery, heart surgery, and others that died by the millions worldwide. It's estimated. I've got the articles right here. We'll cover it next hour. The giving old people a host of assisted suicide drugs when they were on ventilators, knowing it kills you when you do that. I mean, I've had the New York Times admitting this here, and they're still doing it. That's who these people are. They are normalizing culling off the population, the great culling that Dr. Rima Labo and Dr. General and General Stubblebine were told about 14 years ago when she treated heads of state. He was the former head of the Army. He had his connections as well. And what did she say in that Jesse Ventura interview with myself and Jesse Ventura on his show? Everything that now happened. And so we're not late to the game here. We know what's going on. You know what's going on. And everybody better come face to face with the global controlled collapse that's now begun. So when Biden says New World Order and 60 million dead, he means World War II when he's bumbling, and that we didn't have that anymore on the same scale because of the liberal world order. No, they just had Pol Pot and other people do it quietly, the killing. Fidel Castro and countless other dictators. And that now that's all over, but that America will lead the new world order, the end of Bretton Woods, a new global currency based on carbon taxes and based on a global social credit score. Build back better. You will have nothing. You will own nothing. You'll like it. You will eat bugs. They announced it 5 years ago. You laugh at it. I laugh at it. Now, fancy restaurants only to serve bugs. You're like, well, that's crazy. Well, it's getting to the children's brains. They're the real ones being brainwashed. It's a very anti-human takeover taking place. And so, yeah, there's the headline. Bug munching soon to be mainstream in Austin. They're never going to stop. And they'll be subsidized by banks with free drinks and free everything. Just eat the bugs. Be trendy. Just teach pedophilia to children. Just drink your GMO garbage. Drink your aspartame in your Coca-Colas and other drinks in your gums. And, drink your atrazine in the water. All of it is an attack plan. So let's go ahead now and go to Biden talking about the New World Order and why this is so important.
You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway,
a true death sentence. Breaking. Biden warns of incoming food shortages. It's gonna be real. Yahoo Finance. Biden says to expect real food shortages due to Ukraine war. And yeah, that's gonna cause some wheat shortages and things, which is a death sentence to Africa. That's the main place it's gonna hit. But when you expand on that, what else is going on? You see, all of the devaluation of the currencies that have taken place. And then we have, again, these insane type of statements. ABC journalist unhappy that Biden was too quick to rule out World War III. This is when you get such domesticated, dumbed-down people. They have no idea how anything works. That's why they tell you, oh, well, we're just going to get our electricity from power plants that don't have any carbon in it. And they don't even care. They don't even know that it takes more carbon to charge up an electric car than gasoline creates, which is, I think we should create more carbon. I'm all for electric cars if you realize it's coming from coal mainly and natural gas. Windmills can't power 5% of the country. Spain is bankrupt now because they tried it. It doesn't work, and they know it doesn't work. It's meant to collapse society. I've got mainstream articles here out of the New York Times, CNN, and MSNBC saying working out is bad and it's racist and it's what white people do. And they say because it's empowering and teaches you that you're strong and have brotherhood and sisterhood and you meet a community of people that they don't politically control. Because this is a gym. Gyms can be liberal, they can be conservative, they can be neutral. It's not LGBT pedophile. It's not black, it's not white. It's a place where people come together and are friends. And so, oh my God, they want those restricted. I've got that article here in my stack. How it's the new evil thing. It's the new bad thing. That's coming up next hour as well. MSNBC piece claims health and fitness is the new gateway drug to the far right. Yes, being competent, being successful, being happy. What did the leaked Facebook document show 4 years ago? We want them depressed and alone and only talking to avatars. Pandemic fitness trends have gone extreme. Oh, yes. Everything's bad that empowers you. It's all white. We're now saying science and math and reading and writing is white, so we don't want it. It's the sabotage of civilization. We're going to go to break and come back with all of this and more. I just want to remind listeners that we can't operate and stay on air without your support. And we've got to have a clearance of the T-shirts and some of the books and the films that are incredible. At InfoWarsStore.com, up to 75% off. Biggest sale ever, because we've got to get funds in here. I am determined to not lay people off. I am determined to keep fighting these globalists and everything they're doing. But I need your support. Thanks for all your support. But all your investment previous now needs this to carry everybody to the next level. We cannot let InfoWars falter or waver. Please go to InfoWarsStore.com. We have a big sale going on right now on Fizzy Magnesium, back in stock after being sold out 8 months. 25% off. Vitamin D3 gummies, amazing for immune system. 25% off. VasoBeat, so good for your heart and more. 40% off. BioTriselinium, 40% off. All InfoWars T-shirts, at least 30%. Many, 75%. DVDs, books, and media, at least 30%. Water filtration, unprecedented, 30%, plus other great items up to 75% off. InfoWarsStore.com. The Save the Frogs flags, 75% off. InfoWarsStore.com. And we have the new product in stock to take your immune system to the next level. Immune support with all the key concentrated herbs. It is 25% off, and that keeps us on air, and they're great products you need. So now is the time to fund the InfoWar. The 360 win. InfoWarsStore.com. or 888-253-3139.